Rolling.
Okay, Dr. Ang, in your findings on your research, you have said that technology has made censorship possible.
Right.
Yeah. And the Western country has done it.
Right.
Do you think Singapore has to make it happen, or is it possible that in Singapore context?
I think in Singapore, we are a bit worried about how it will affect us in, I would say, two ways. One is that we already have a reputation of being censorial, that we censor more things than many other people. We are very conservative in that sense. And the sense of the Singapore government is that we don't want to perpetuate that. So in fact, they have backed off from regulating the internet and other regulations, in fact, since the mid-90s. After that set of rules on internet regulation, they've really backed off and not passed. I can't think of something that passed. Of late, yes, they have come on with prosecuting people, the bloggers basically, who have written things that were seditious, as defined under the law. The concern is that if we are continue to be as censorial, then it would affect our future development of the creative industries, which is where we want to get into. So the creative industry people may not come to Singapore. So that's kind of one big fear, or one big concern. So that's the area of censorship and its effect on future investment and people coming in. The other area is that because we are a hub for the region, even if there's no new business in that sense, the concern is that if we were to block, will we be blocking materials that could be useful for us in serving the region? For example, if we're a regional hub for advertising or PR, but if we block our access to materials, will we be kind of cutting up our own lifeline when these information could be used to serve the region? So I think I see these two major concerns: new information, new business, new industry coming in, and current business, current information. Yeah.
So I believe they maybe over a period they will review this again and see whether they should.
Yeah, I think we need to see, because there is also at a global level, like I mentioned in the talk, a kind of a pullback, so that people want to say, well, okay, yeah, this is happening globally, but what is the impact on us nationally? And people are becoming a little more aware, that not everything global is good or desirable, as you can see. And so what can we do globally? We want to preserve our culture, and in fact, we don't talk about investments. Going global doesn't guarantee you success. I mean, see global companies fail, then you get infected, So there are some rethinking now is the issue of globalization. I don't see the response necessarily as local, but certainly for internet people, begin to think more. But we see it going regional, and that's kind of a new area. So in other words, the internet, you could say, being regulated with sort of regional sensitivity, seeing how things work regionally at regional level.
The other presenter in the closing plenary has mentioned about self-censorship. Do you think this has happened in Singapore? I mean, this self-censorship has happened.
Yeah, of course. Okay. I had mentioned before that Sharon, George, and I were working on a book on censorship, and the basic thing about censorship is that it will lead to self-censorship, and the reason is that with censorship there are penalties placed on those who cross the line. So as a safety device, you will take a step back, right? You will not step right up to the line. So and because the lines are not always clear, even no matter how well defined in law, in practice it's not always clear. So as a safeguard, a few people step up to the line. So most people will take a step back. So once you take a step back, that is a form of self-censorship. That is a form of self-control in a way, but that's also a form of self-censorship. And so our basic premise on this is that whenever there's censorship, there will be self-censorship.
Now the question will be on the organizing of this ICA. Can you tell us what are the significance of for Wikimbi School of Communication to host this ICA 2010?
Yeah, this came out of a major planning retreat where basically looking at the future direction of the school, and the faculty were in the planning group one thing that came out very clearly was that we wanted to be what we call the premier school of communication in Asia that happens to be located in Asia, but actually it's a globally recognized school. And so one of the things that we decided was that we would bid for the ICA to let people know of the school. So it's a bit of a branding, a bit of marketing. So it's a big effort really by the whole school, because at the time I was head of the school, and I asked the faculty members, do you want to do it? Because it's a lot of work. I mean, I knew it would be a lot of work, and I asked them, do you want to do it? And everybody voted yes. I mean, no one said no or even hesitated. Everybody voted yes. So it's on a basis that I said, okay, let's do it. And of course, I sounded out people in ICA beforehand to get their comments. What do you think? And a lot of support also from people. And as I acknowledged them yesterday in a dinner, a lot of people came to give support. So I said, okay, then let's do it. Yeah.
So far, do you have any feedback from the international delegates on this ICA?
Okay. Yeah, I think they've given generally positive feedback. Of course, I'm giving a very biased point of view because I'm involved in organizing things. But they've given generally positive feedback. Some people say it's been the best conference they've attended last 10 years. Partly because the food has never been, the lunch especially, has never been a part of the ICA. So we give them lunch. Also, I guess the way we did things in Singapore, we did it, as you said, in fact, the president said, we did it with style. So, for example, the food wasn't just food, but, well presented. It wasn't in the ICA it tends to be like standing room or sort of a semi-canteen style, metal chairs, for example. But here you have, nice cushion seats, aircon, there was music. And also the way the dining room was set up, it encouraged a lot of interaction, and exactly what conferences are about, It's not just the papers, but also meeting people and interacting with people. So that part went, very, very well. The exhibitors were very happy because you had to pass through all of them to get to the dining area. So every exhibitor was seen several times throughout the conference. So, another big plus. We added an art display, which is new. They've tried it before the ICA, but that hadn't gone well. And this one seems to have gone pretty well. The sitting area, there's room for people to move around to see. There's audio visual. So it was, very well done. And then at the end, we had this drum performance that some colleague had suggested, and again that went very well. So you could say it really ended on a very high note because of the drums and all that. People were getting all involved, and enjoying themselves. So overall, yeah, I mean, a lot of people played a part. I mean, you played a part, So many people played a part, and that's how it worked. I think what it showed for us is that the team spirit of the school is very, very strong. And many programs in the US, even though they may be more famous, more prominent, just could not have pulled this together because they don't work well as a team. Whereas for us in Singapore, we have worked very well as a team. So that has shown us up in a very good light.